What is up, everybody? Bootman here, and we're back with another Marvel Snap video. And in this video, we're gonna dive into some psychology behind the game, and I promise you, it will not only make you a better Marvel Snap player, help you win them cubes, rank up, get some W's under your belt, but it will help you in life in general, all right? This is scientifically backed stuff that we're gonna be talking about today. So if that sounds good to you, make sure you watch this entire video, all right? But before we get started, if you're new here, hi, my name is Chris, and if you love Marvel Snap as much as I do, make sure you subscribe and ring that notification bell. I love making videos about different like decks, cards, strategies, and all that, but I am a huge psychology nerd. I love reading books on not just psychology, but philosophy and human behavior and all that, and I like to intertwine it with Marvel Snap. So this video and many others are gonna help you out. So if that sounds good to you, make sure you subscribe and ring that notification bell. We're trying to hit 7,000 subscribers by the end of the month, and you can help me do that, all right? And you get to join our awesome Discord community, linked down in the description below. And if you follow me over on Twitter, @BootmanMSTZ, you can be part of our monthly giveaways for the season pass, all right? So make sure you follow me. That's also linked down in the description below. All right, cool. So let's talk. Like, this is something I've been bothered. I've been quite bothered lately. And by the way, this is tough love Chris coming at you, coach, competitive Chris coming to you. So if you're not into that and you just hit subscribe, but you don't like that, you might want to leave, all right? Because we have real talk here, all right? We have fun, all right? I like to build fun, silly decks and goof around, but I am so tired of seeing so many excuses running around. I don't have this series 5 card. Oh, this game is pay to win. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, it's easy for you to say. All right, I have made plenty of videos already showing you that some of the quote unquote best cards in the game lose just as much as any other card. It happens so much. And you guys, like, if you're here to make excuses, like, it's not gonna help you, all right? You could stay in that problem or you can start looking for solutions. And that's what we're gonna be talking about today. I had a comment on my Galactus video where I showed my losses and everything. And the comment was saying like, well, yeah, these cards, they can be countered, but when you play against them and you don't have that deck, you're not playing with the deck to counter it, then you lose. And I'm like, well, no, duh. That's with any deck, right? That's literally any deck. Like, for example, Majantress, that's got me to Infinite multiple seasons. Terrible against Silver Surfer decks, terrible against leader decks, right? Like, yeah, if I'm playing a different deck against those ones, it'll work, but if not, I'll lose. That is the same with anything. We needed to talk about how your mindset is screwing you up. So check it out, by the way. Like, when it comes to like mindset and like positivity and all those other things, outside of Marvel Snap, like, I think it's a bunch of garbage, okay? Like, you are not going to pull yourself up by your bootstraps if you've been dealt an extremely bad hand in life, all right? I read a ton of books on the myth of meritocracy here in the United States, where the biggest predictor of success in life is how much wealth you're born into. So trust me, like, I know mindset outside of this game is a bunch of phooey, okay? But inside this game, when we're talking about competitive games, sports, things like that, mindset is a huge deal. I'm gonna discuss some science behind this in a minute. And you guys, we're playing Marvel Snap. Me and you, we're not trying out for the NBA. We're not going out for the NFL, all right? So mindset works a little bit better here because there's no physical prowess that needs to take place when you're playing Marvel Snap. This game is about being intelligent. It's about taking your time, managing your impulses like I discussed the other day, all right? It's about strategy. These are all things that you can work on. So today, I wanted to discuss the psychology of luck, and this screen's a little goofy. Let me see if I can squeeze that down for you. This book right here is called The Luck Factor. It's by Dr. Richard Weissman, okay? He's been a psychology researcher for years now. He actually started out as a magician. And I keep thinking about this book, so I'm reading it again. It's like my second or third time. So he's researched luck, all right? And just so you know, like, we're science people here, all right, at this channel. There's no supernatural thing going on as luck. The universe is not doing anything to make your life good or terrible. That's not happening, okay? Just there's a bunch of randomness and chaos, but when it comes to those who are lucky, a lot of it comes to the way they perceive the world. So Richard Wiseman, he used to be a magician, and the story is he had this trick where he would go and like give talks to like businesses and stuff, and he'd put like, I don't know, I think it was like $100 in an envelope. He'd line up 50 envelopes, he'd shuffle them around and stuff, and he'd have somebody come up, they'd pick an envelope, and he'd light them all on fire, and the one that he didn't light on fire had the money in it. So anyways, this one woman, she's like, she had the, money, and she's like, yeah, I knew that was gonna happen. He's like, really? Like, why? And she's like, oh, I'm just really lucky. I'm just really lucky. Things like this happen all the time. And then, he asked the audience like, hey, raise your hand if you think you're lucky. Okay, raise your hand if you think you're unlucky. And he found that really interesting. So when he got into, we transitioned from magic to psychology, he started researching luck, like what separates these people. So he, in his early days, he actually wanted to test it out, see if there's anything supernatural. He wanted to see if maybe lucky people have like psychic abilities or something. And he got thousands of people to buy lottery tickets and pick numbers. And, people filled out a survey whether they considered themselves lucky or unlucky. And there was zero difference. There was zero difference between the lucky people and the unlucky people. All right, so there's nothing supernatural going on. Lucky people, if they had psychic abilities, they'd be picking winning lotto numbers all the time, all sorts of stuff. So I'm gonna explain the science behind this and some of Richard Wiseman's research. But first, I wanna discuss this book real quick. This is by Sean Aker, okay? And he comes from positive psychology. All right, positive psychology, some of the research is a little but one of the things that is well known in psychology, which I first learned about from this book, is something called locus of control, okay? So people have one of two types of locus of control. They have an internal locus of control or an external locus of control. What does that mean, okay? An external locus of control is me believing that I do not have control over the circumstances that happen to me in my life, all right? Nothing I do matters. I cannot control anything. I can't control a single outcome of a Marvel Snap game because it is outside of my control. Well, the research shows, and this may not be a shocker, those people are not as happy, all right? They're a little bit anxious, Like, hey, we're control freaks. It's part of human nature. So if you feel like you don't control anything, makes you a little anxious, all right? But an internal locus of control, that is people who believe that their actions have direct results on outcomes, all right? And that is what we're trying to work on, okay? My life got a whole lot better when I started realizing, like back when I got sober, like, oh, if I do these things, then I have a little bit of control, all right? So when we're talking about something like Marvel Snap, we're talking about what do you have control over? Are you running around saying, oh my God, I don't have these Series 5 cards. I don't have Galactus. I don't have Thanos. I don't have Darkhawk. I can't do that. You are living with an external locus of control. Now, if you switch that up and you say, okay, there's cards like Shang-Chi. There's cards like Enchantress. There's cards like Cosmo. There are all these tech cards that counter certain things. You know what? I can put those in decks and I can counter these big cards that come out. I can counter a Darkhawk with an Enchantress, with a Rogue, right? With one of these free cards. That is you having an internal locus of control, and that's what we're trying to develop here. All right, so if you're running around making the excuses and you can't win a game, well, guess what? I hate to break it to you, but you're not going to win games. You're not going to rank up. And when battle mode comes out, you're gonna be really, really sad because you're gonna believe that you have zero control over the outcomes of the games. But we don't do that here, all right? We develop that internal locus of control and we figure out how to get those W's, all right? So let's jump into the luck factor. So one of my favorite studies in this book, it was an impossible puzzle task, all right? So whenever they do one of these studies, they have people fill out questionnaires. Do you see yourself as lucky? Do you see yourself as unlucky, all right? So they do the little questionnaire, they get a bunch of people, okay? And they give them an impossible puzzle. This puzzle is impossible. They don't tell them that because psychology experiments are hilarious. And there's a lot of ethical stuff that goes into it, but that's for another time. But anyways, because they have to debrief them after, okay? So calm down when you think psychology experiments are doing something mean. Ethical experiments, they have to debrief them after and say, hey, here's what we actually did, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, they gave them an impossible puzzle. They did not tell them that it was impossible, okay? But what they found, the difference between lucky and unlucky people was not the universe doing something lucky. It was that the people who saw themselves as lucky, they worked on it longer, okay? They worked on the impossible puzzle longer. What does that tell you? The unlucky people, the people who view themselves as unlucky, their mindset, they gave up sooner, okay? Now think about that. Think about that in reference to Marvel Snap and what you're doing, okay? The lucky people, they try harder. They keep working at it. They're trying to figure out this puzzle. They don't give up as quickly. So the second you see these Series 5 cards popping up, and you're just like, well, I can't do anything. I can't do anything about this. This becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, okay? Like me, what I do when these cards come out, when I start getting beat by certain decks, when these decks start coming out, I hunker down. I start doing the research. I'm on Snap.fan. I am on Marvel Snap Zone. I'm watching every YouTube video, every stream. I'm like, how do I counter this deck? And I start researching everything. I start looking for all the different possibilities. I start getting inspiration for my own decks, all right? It gives me like this fuel when this new card comes out that is quote unquote unbeatable. You guys, do you know how nice it is? Do you know how fun it is beating somebody who just spent 6,000 tokens on a card? That stuff is fun as hell, all right? Like, that's what I do. Maybe you could take that little tip, but that's the motivation I get. It's like, oh, you guys are playing this deck? Now here's what I'm gonna do. So every time I run into it, boom, we're gonna have some fun. You know what I mean? Like, I mentioned that in my Galactus video. When I drop Galactus and people win, like, I give them a fist bump. Like, it is great beating Galactus. Like, hey, that's fun, all right? So remember that. The lucky people, the only thing separating them in this impossible puzzle task is that they are trying longer. They are not giving up as soon as the quote unquote unlucky people, okay? Like, if nothing else, one of the reasons that I, have had a little bit of success in my life is because I don't give up. Like, I am a crazy person and I just double down and I keep pushing and pushing and pushing. But there is, a whole conversation to be had about when to quit something, okay? But in Marvel Snap, like, no, you keep pushing, you keep getting creative, you keep figuring something out, okay? So the other experiment that I really wanted to highlight in this was this one with a newspaper ad. So I pulled up the study right here. Oh Lord, I lost my place. Oh, nope, there it is. Okay, so this paper is from our boy, Richard Wiseman. All right, you can download this. In fact, I'll link both these books down below as well as this study. So check this out. This is just a little piece. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. Okay, so take the case of chance opportunities. So lucky people, they always just run into things, right? They win prizes and these things, just so many things happen to them, right? It's just so lucky, all right? So listen to this study. The case of chance opportunities, lucky people consistently encounter such opportunities, whereas unlucky people don't. I carried out a very simple experiment to discover whether this was due to differences in their ability to spot such opportunities. I gave both lucky and unlucky people a newspaper and asked them to look through it and tell me how many photographs were inside. Easy enough, right? On average, unlucky people took about 2 minutes to count the photographs, whereas lucky people took just seconds. Why? Well, because the second page of the newspaper contained the message, "Stop counting, there are 43 photographs in this newspaper." This message took up half of the page and was written in type that was over 2 inches high. It was staring everyone straight in the face, but the unlucky people tend to miss it, and the lucky people tend to spot it. All right, so the difference between lucky and unlucky people is they're constantly looking for stuff. They're constantly on the hunt, okay? There's nothing lucky about them. They are looking for opportunities everywhere, okay? So the reason I want to highlight that study when it comes to Marvel Snap is because think about it with that newspaper. It says to count the photos, okay? You're getting tunnel vision on these Series 4 and Series 5 cards that you don't have. You're missing all of the other opportunities. You're so focused on that you're not going out there and researching the counters, right? You're not looking at streams. You're not looking at SnapFan, Marvel Snap Zone. You're not watching different YouTube videos of a variety of different creators, all right? That is what lucky people are doing, okay? And I guess the last thing I'll discuss, just to wrap this thing up, is something called cognitive distortions, okay? This is something that's very commonly discussed in psychology. It's actually where the therapy of cognitive behavioral therapy comes in. So cognitive distortions are, we have a distorted view or perspective on reality that is not true. Cognitive behavioral therapy takes evidence, all right, to counter those cognitive distortions. Let me give you an example of a cognitive distortion in Marvel Snap. I cannot win, I cannot hit infinite rank because I do not have insert card here, all right? A practice in CBT would be, is there any evidence to the contrary of that? Have you ever seen somebody beat these cards that you don't have, all right? Has that ever happened? Has anybody ever hit infinite rank without these cards that you listed? If that's the case, that's how you counter that thought, okay? You ask yourself, has anybody ever done this before? Is it possible? And you start working your way out of that terrible mindset of, I cannot do this because blank, okay? Again, I'll end with this. There are no Series 3 cards that cannot beat Series 5 cards. That's just not how it is, okay? And you can sit here, you can fill up my comment section with excuse after excuse after excuse. You are wasting your breath. I am here to help you. I'm here to tell you the reality of the situation. So hopefully this video helped you. Hopefully it helped you get out of that terrible mindset. And I will continue to make these videos too, because I keep seeing these kind of comments on Twitter in my comment section. So maybe I'll convert you, but if not, again, I will not lose any sleep at night, okay? I am getting that brand new card back because I hit infinite, all right? And there are plenty of other people who are getting it too. So you can sit and focus on the problem all day long. You can miss the newspaper ad that tells you how many pictures are in there, okay? You can do that all you want. But meanwhile, the rest of us, we're gonna be ranking up, we're gonna be getting some cubes, getting some W's, okay? So again, I will link these books down below. I will also link that Richard Wiseman paper if you want to check it out. I was just clicking, but I switched the screen. Anyways, I hope this helped out. If there are any other topics that you want me to discuss, like I'm really interested. I want to like dive into some books on like sports psychology and stuff like that too. But anyways, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. But if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, ring that notification bell, help me get to 7,000 subscribers by the end of the month. We're getting close. I think we're like 100 away, something like that. So come on and join. You get sweet videos like this. You get a little tough love Chris. You don't want to miss out on that. And you can join our awesome Discord community down in the description below. Follow me on Twitter at BootmanMSTZ so you don't miss the opportunity, okay, to be part of our monthly giveaways for the season pass. All right. So yeah, thanks again for watching and have an amazing rest of your day. I'll see you in the next one.